I was looking over my shoulder. Who's that? Okay. Okay, we are calling the meeting to
Voice
order
from
at,
beyond.
okay, 4:03. It is September 1st, 2021. And this is the monthly meeting of the Southampton Council of Aging. And we are obviously on Zoom, thanks to the extension that was provided.
Well, I just want to say thank you that we didn't vote to have it outside today.
I think I would have made an
Agreed.
executive decision and we would have called it inside. We actually voted to have it at the center. And obviously with masks, we felt, most of you commented either way is fine, but I'd rather not have it with a mask on at the center. So I think that I got the hint. So anyway, welcome everybody.
Thank you.
I hope you all built your ark already because it's going to be a wet night. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Rini coming in.
Hi, how are you doing, everybody?
Good.
Hi, Rini.
We just started and I was just going to go around and let everybody mention who's in the room here. So we have Joan, we have Jim, Sylvia, Lori, Josie, Jonathan, myself, and Maureen Groden on audio for the moment. And we are being recorded thanks to that voice in my head. Okay.
A
The
voice from
rasping
beyond.
voice.
A grasping
Yeah,
voice.
do you have the capability to put Rini where her phone number is, just so she can be recognized with
Yeah,
her
we can do
name?
that. Of course I do.
Thank you.
She's gonna come in later on as, I'm gonna put it as Maureen, her official name.
Sure, I just get used to calling her Rini, and now you're gonna put it back to Maureen.
No, you
Okay.
can still call her Rini. I'll let her answer that. Anyway, welcome everybody. Here we
I go
go.
by both.
You go.
Mhm.
You answer to either. So I look for open time for the public. I don't see anyone else here from the public outside of our group, so we'll move on to approval of minutes. Anybody have, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move.
I'll second.
Open for discussion. And the only one thing, Jim, that I would add is you had Joan and Nancy as kind of for moving forward with the subcommittee for the Memory Cafe, and Sylvia is also part of that.
Oh, I see.
If you can scroll down to see that.
I'll add Sylvia.
Yes, yes. So it was Joan, Sylvia, and Nancy. And just
Okay.
for Nancy did send me a message, and work is interfering with her life today of COA life, so she will not be joining us, unfortunately. Okay, so all in favor for the approval with this one minor change, unless there's any other discussion? No other discussion. Jim? All in favor? Jim?
Aye.
Sylvia?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Josie?
Aye.
Jonathan?
Aye.
And Janet, aye. Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks, Jim. I always have to go back. Where did I put those minutes now? They've been so long. All right, let me just take a quick peek. Joan, I'm not sure why you sent out a treasurer's report.
So yesterday we were trying to get balances. That's why I sent it, but you can use whichever one Nancy sent.
Well, yours was missing a week from what she had.
Oh, well then disregard mine altogether.
Okay. And were any of those things filled in at the time, or?
So is that hers?
Yes, because it had the full amount, all the whole month to the end of
So-
August. So
Do you have the ability to edit it?
I'm not gonna edit. I will let you
All right.
and decide
All
on
right,
that. I'm
never
not gonna,
mind.
I do, but I don't keep the master on that. So
Okay, so I just want you to know that our expense report, expense account did not go back to its original 1650. We stayed at last year's. I just looked at the budget sheet.
okay, so 1229 was last year's budget.
Correct.
Okay, okay, good.
Where's that? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, column I, row 4, the town expense budget. we remained at 1229.
Okay, yep.
Okay,
So
And-
this is for the beginning of, okay, this
this
is
is FY 22.
20, okay.
Okay, so Joan, have you received an expense report for FY 22?
So this was come from the budget. The information I came from the budget, I talked to Regina, she's straight out, she's only here another week.
Yeah, I
And that's
understand, but
only 4 days.
okay.
So I can't tell you what expense account we have received. My feeling is I don't remember seeing one since July.
Okay,
But I'm sorry, I did not pursue that.
no, I'm asking you if you received one from accounting.
I couldn't say yes or no.
Okay. Okay, important information though to keep on top of, so.
Mhm.
Okay, so I know we're early in the fiscal year. Anybody have any questions on the expense account at this point in time?
No.
Have the Fritter wages, we have Flo and Darlene coming out of the state formula grant, which we haven't gotten the final number on yet for this year, for fiscal year 22. We have, Darlene's wages, the original 7 hours coming out at her new increased rate. And then Joan's salary that would be consistently the same week after week after week, right, Joan?
Yes,
So it's consistently higher, hopefully.
thank you, yes.
Does anybody else have any questions on?
Actually, on Jones, can we go back up just to,
Absolutely, yep.
all right, so did her. All right, so there's a difference between the 716 number and,
So Joan can explain it. Joan, you want to explain why you have a different?
So initially on July 1st or the week of July 1st, which was only one day, which was Thursday, they hadn't decided if they were going salary or what my wages would be. So I put it in as last year's wages, $20.40 an hour. And then they gave me retro in the second week.
oh, okay,
Balance out. Okay, so good catch, Josie.
great, thanks for clarifying that.
Good.
And the total of the revised budget is incorrect, but I'll work with Nancy to get it correct. It's
Okay,
really 33 something.
okay. Because I think that was in last month's minutes was the 34,548. So that's,
So when
Was
I was
it-
looking at his budget today, it's 33,224.26.
at the approved town budget.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So yeah, let's work with Nancy and get the spreadsheet corrected. That would be great. Okay, so did we have a motion yet to approve the treasurer's report?
I'll
So
make a
moved.
motion
Oh,
to
that was,
approve treasurer's report.
okay, Lori, motion, second,
I'll
Second.
second.
okay.
But I have a question too. Are we approving it subject to future amendments
Um,
or just
the
approving it
budget
as
itself,
submitted?
the numbers that are here are correct.
Okay,
Yeah, so it'll be, I guess we'll approve it with modifications and correct budget numbers, hopefully submitted input by next month.
So, I have a quick question.
Mhm.
So if the Joan's salary is really in the new budget a little less than the 34,548, is the bi-weekly
The
numbers, is
bi-weekly, I
that
would,
correct?
I'm gonna say that that's correct, and it's the
Okay.
total number that's off,
Okay,
okay?
great, thanks.
Because this payroll will make sure that these numbers are correct,
Correct.
okay,
Good.
so it's this number that we need to get the total.
yeah.
And again, we can get it from the approved budget from June's approved budget, if we don't have an expense report that's been sent out.
And the other balances we were looking for were the revenue local, the revolving accounts, money in, money out.
Mhm.
But again, I said Regina is down to her last few days, so.
Yep, yep. So, and I think we're gonna remove column J because that's not applicable in this fiscal year, so we're gonna remove that, so. Right, Joan?
Right.
Correct.
We discussed the other day. Okay, great. Okay, all in favor of the approved budget, noting the corrected revised budget numbers to be submitted to Nancy for corrections on line 4. All in favor, Jim,
Yes.
Sylvia? Sylvia?
Did we lose her?
Sorry, I was muted. Yep.
Okay, okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Lori,
Yes,
Josie,
Yes,
Jonathan,
Yes.
myself, yes, aye. Thanks. Okay. Moving right along. Okay, we're gonna do the update from Joan and I will, is it helpful for me to put it up or does it?
No,
I
that's,
think it is.
Okay, all right. I don't want to do it and have everybody go, why is she doing that? Okay, let me see. All right, so you want to highlight some of your August
Yeah,
highlights
so-
and then we'll
so
move in.
as requested, we're not going to do the date by date, the Italy payroll stuff and things that I have to do. But I do like to at least put, major things that are happening for the month, so people have an idea of what happened in the month. So we did meet with John Lumbra from the select board, Janet and I, and he was just, he's meeting with, I guess, other departments just to familiarize himself with the staff and the hours and the building, what space we have. So when he's talking in the select board meetings, he has a better handle or idea of what we're all about. So that was a very nice meeting. We can talk about the Memory Cafe after, but I know we want to more put emphasis on what initiatives we're having. So we are working with the Park and Rec Department, getting a film license,
Can
which
we
is
stick with this, Joan, just see if anybody has questions on this part first, okay?
Oh, all right.
Because-
Well, they can read it. Is there anything anybody has questions on? I mean, we still are trying to get the annual reports out. I was without a computer for a couple weeks, so it was very difficult to do office work. But the computer was there, it just didn't have Wi-Fi, which most everything needs Wi-Fi to get our calendar, et cetera. But it was finally fixed last Friday, so that's the moot point now.
Okay, so I guess my only question is, anybody else have any questions for you, Joan, about any of the activities or comments or that's all more than,
I just
Really?
have a quick question. Can anybody say that on 8/17, there was a trip to the lake? Where's that
Yes.
lake?
yeah, it's up there.
Like Chagagog Man, Chagagog, Chabungamungamog.
Thank you.
It
Where
means
is-
you fish on your side of the lake, I'll fish on my side of the lake, and nobody fishes in the middle.
So Joan,
that's cute.
I'm gonna, because of the comment from on the driver and HIPAA regulations, I took down your shared document. I should have caught that before.
What?
And there
Oh.
shouldn't they'd be putting that in a broadcast, so that's more, I think, more HIPAA regulation, so we just need to take that down for now, okay? I
Fine.
don't want it- Because being recorded and it's up for public time, so what I can try to do is I just wanted to get it down before we were, anybody else have, I will bring up the bottom half of the sheet though, okay? But we need to be very careful about putting any health-related things up, okay, for public comment. So let me go back down here and we'll look at upcoming initiatives.
So when we were having our planning meeting yesterday, Chris Falls came in and made us aware that there's about $3,500 of unspent CARES Act money that we need to spend or return to the town so they can use it in other areas. They were groceries that we were going to get at Big E's to do another grocery giveaway. It was technology support. We were gonna get, we were gonna hire somebody to help with our seniors and anyone who needed technology support. And then we were gonna do another PPE, giveaway as well. So we may have to have a discussion on, do we follow through on, is there a need for the groceries? Is there a need for the PPE? And we still have to the end of December, but the Good Eats to Go drive-through was very successful. We had $2,000 just towards that. So maybe we can reallocate it to do a couple more meals. Anyway, I'm up for anything. We just don't, we don't want to have to give it back to a different department if we can use it ourselves to our benefit, because it looks like we may not have any group lunches in our facility for some months, just on the way that things are looking. We had hoped, and normally they'd have one in September, October, November, December. September's already not planned. October's not looking good. I hope that we can do something for the holidays, but who knows?
So the one thing I'd like to see if we can get, as we are getting perhaps a little bit more homebound for people, if we can look into and explore the technology support or technology training and secure somebody that maybe is available 2 hours a week. If people have questions, they can come in and meet with them and bring their iPad or whatever. So I think that'll come up at the Friends meeting as well. And I think it's a good, especially now that we're still continued to be kind of dependent on not traveling as much and, people being more isolated. So make sure that they can use Zoom or FaceTime or whatever technology they.
We had a computer one-on-one today. A gentleman came in, his wife's very computer savvy, he's not. So we lined him up with Tony, and so he's teaching him, he's getting him emails. And so at least right now we haven't had a lot of requests for it. But I am open to whatever you think we really should be doing.
I don't know if we'd have more requests if we had offered something. But
Okay.
I think it's, I don't know what other people think, but any other thoughts from the board on that?
I'll put in my 2 cents for what it's worth. I think the technology is really a plus. You can't go shopping. People are buying things online. So they need to know how to get online in order to order things. You can still go shopping, but if you go to the mall, there's nothing there because, they're not getting the products. And now they're doing tech health over the internet. So, you get a doctor's appointment and you're talking to the doctor online. Everything is becoming online. So I think if we advertise that we had support, we might get people in.
I think that's a great idea, whether it be a weekly or a 1 or 2 time deal where we would get somebody come in and invite other folks to come in and learn. Maybe they could do a general education on it.
Yeah, and I like what you said, Joan, about Tony working one-on-one, because sometimes people are intimidated that, they're in a group and the group is getting it and they're not getting it. So
Yeah, I agree with you.
Security
I think
services.
there's a lot of value to signing up for a 15-minute window or something to come in and do a little one-on-one versus a group. I personally learn better by doing than being shown. So not everybody works, learns that way. But to me, it seems like, is Tony somebody that would be willing to do this? Or, we
So
have,
he has basic knowledge.
okay.
He has, and this is what this gentleman wants, basic knowledge. But to go to move on, and he learned it himself, and he said exactly what you just said, is that you have to practice it, you have to use it, and that's how you'll learn.
Yeah, good. So, I would like maybe if we can explore that. There's a woman who used to live in town she had a little technology company herself. She's come in to our home and really done a lot of helpful things when our computers go kafooey, or the operator does. And, you know, we could reach out to her and see if she'd be interested a couple hours a week. She's to come in and have people come in, or however, you know,
I'd be
everybody.
glad to work with her. Yeah, she'd have to do a W-9, you know, she'd be a vendor, so.
Yep. I would have to check with her and see if it has the interest or availability, but you know, maybe it's Tuesday and Thursday afternoons at 1:30 or something, or Tuesday, you know, so it doesn't interfere with bingo or whatever. Right, so people get it, you know, I mean, the CARES fund has to be spent by the end of this year, so it's moving forward quickly, or not
Janet,
using.
can I just say something?
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I really totally support the technology idea. As we found out trying to sign people up for the COVID vaccine, that they're not accustomed to doing things that way. And if we can do anything to improve people's access to online, you know, everything, I think that'd be great. And I also support, you know, supporting a local business. I also wonder, you know, there's not only the money that's left over that the Council on Aging had not spent yet. There's about $130,000 to $140,000 of so repurposed money that I don't know if, you know, I'm assuming it's in addition to what the Council on Aging had already allocated, because initially FEMA was supposed to reimburse 75% of allowable expenses, and they ended up reimbursing 100%. So I'm wondering how many, I mean, iPads are great for seniors, and I'm just wondering, do we have any way of knowing how many people might benefit from having an iPad?
Well,
We've purchased some iPads, Rini, and Joan, how many have you handed out? And
so I believe we had 6 and we've handed out 4.
so
And
we
one
still-
happened the other day, we happened to give out one. Their own device wasn't working and they were looking for one, so.
So I guess, you know, one of the things that I comments for regarding those is that kind of technology is if, you know, we put it in a newsletter once, I don't know if it's still in there, that we have them available. If we've
Mhm.
put them in there again, I mean, it should be kind of like, remember, if you need an iPad, blah, 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 you know.
I
Does it
think it might be
continue to be in the newsletter? Because if it's not in everybody's front and center, people are gonna forget that it's available.
Plus
Are
it needs
these,
to be one that's sent out a mass mailing.
are
Yeah.
these available as a loan out, or?
Well, they initiated as a loan out. I haven't had anybody return. I had one person return them. You know, I haven't followed up on it. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's not like it's a 30-day thing. I mean, as they need it, I suppose we could follow up on it and see if they're using it, and if, you know.
Well, it would seem to me that if we're going to have tech classes, it might be good to have iPads available at the center for students.
That's a great idea.
As long as
How
that's
much-
the technology that they use, because not everybody uses Apple.
I don't.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I just think we have the funds, and I think we should consider actually purchasing them for some people if it would increase their access to technology and healthcare and everything else. I also just want to say that I support food. I think that it's basic, and I think that if the other program is so successful, and it's again supporting a local business, I think food is essential for people to have accessible to them.
You know, I have an idea, and I don't know if this is a good or bad one, but you know, I think probably the majority of the seniors are vaccinated at this point.
At
And
least
some of
2.
them may like to get out and maybe go to the grocery store. However, I think people want to wear masks. And I was wondering if we should purchase some of the KN95 masks that we can give to people. And also, I just heard this at the Big Y the last time I went in this past week, and they are getting a new technology where if you download an app on your phone, when you go through picking your
Express.
groceries, you just do it with your phone, and you can actually, it's like a self checkout, and it's a zip thing. There's no contact with what do they call it? It's a non-touch contact with anybody. You pay through your phone, so it may not work for everybody, but frankly, I would love to do something like that. I would think it would be a great easier, and I hate the self-checkout at the store, but I think if I was just scanning things in on my phone as I'm putting them in my basket, and then being able to just check out that way would make things that much easier.
Well,
And then
I would also recommend that, along with technology, that maybe we should educate seniors to the abuses of technology. And for example, the big Y idea, I would oppose it because it eliminates jobs. It's another way of eliminating workers. And
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it like that. But
yeah,
they're
and-
already eliminated from.
Well,
with the
I
self-checkout.
avoid big Y. Well, I shouldn't say it online, I guess, but yeah, I mean, I'm all in favor of supporting local merchants and local merchants providing jobs to people in the community.
I don't
But-
use the checkout, the self-checkout. Like you, I'm against that because it takes away jobs. It's a machine instead of a human. So I
Right.
just never use them.
Right. And really, I mean, it's not appropriate here, but I mean, there's all sorts of literature about the new economy coming up, especially after, we learn about global warming and the fact we have to reverse things. And, the use of technology is sometimes, just because it's technology doesn't necessarily mean it's good.
So I think that it for us in the COA, I think if people are looking to keep communication going with families and they're homebound and they can't travel, that's a good focus, and they don't know how to use their technology. So I think those are the things.
I just
that-
don't think we should encourage it. If people need it, we can teach it and support them. But,
That's what
it-
that's what I'm saying, Jim.
Yeah.
That's what the classes would be about. You want to
point.
be able to communicate. So
yeah.
it's keeping
Because
people.
I have actually, ethical conflicts because I'm very much in favor of social justice. And I think a lot of things that sometimes not only we, but people in general embrace really are antithetical to social justice. And we don't really talk about that enough, I think.
For our purposes, and Jonathan, I'm going to let you speak too, because I do think our purpose here is very simple. Keeping people from feeling isolated throughout the next few months. So Jonathan, you speak.
I believe in most of the goals, but I think that whatever we decide to do on the technology, what we classes, other instruction, equipment, that we need to be really think very clearly about what it is that the target audience and the people likely to avail themselves of this, what people can absorb easily enough. I'm just wondering, obviously, I mean, I certainly am not the, I use technology quite a bit, but I'm not the most tech savvy person, certainly not as much as someone 40 years and younger. I don't, whatever we do, I just don't want people to feel inundated and overwhelmed about something. I mean, if someone is over 80, it might be a little more difficult for them because they haven't used technology as much. I'm talking in general terms. So I think we need to be selective as to what it is that we want to educate people in, and be aware of that as well when we if we're handing out iPads or whatever. I think the point about what Jim said that I think is appropriate for our discussion right now would be the downside of technology. Forget about the social aspect of it, but could people end up doing stuff that harms them? Not realizing there's certain security measures to be taken, some of which are more difficult than others. So I would just suggest that whatever we decide to do, we do it with really careful and painstaking deliberation. Obviously, this group at this meeting is not going to be able to make that decision, although I do understand that there's the time constraint on using the funds that are currently available. Anyways, I just, it's to sound that note.
Okay, that's good. All good input from everybody. And again, my vision was to have a resource if people are, and know that the resource is available if they have something they need help with, I mean, we tried having computer classes that I don't think that, and that kind of ended a couple years ago, and that's not the initiative. The initiative is if they have a need, can we help them, address it? So, but good points about social justice and how people can harm themselves by getting too deep into the internet sometimes. Jonathan?
Well, Sylvia wanted to say something that
Okay, I have you. Okay, go ahead, Sylvia.
I want to go back to the iPads. The idea of when iPads were purchased for the center, was the idea to have them on loans for people or to give them away?
Technically a loan program, but they've had them for a year,
A long-term loan,
a
Sylvia.
long-term loan.
Okay, and we haven't kept track of that.
I know, we have them signed out. I know who has them. But
Do you
I
know-
haven't called them back in yet. We hadn't used all of them, so we haven't called them back in yet.
So
Do you
we
know
don't
if they're still being used, Joan? I mean,
So I can put Darlene on that next week.
Yeah, just to
We'll
check.
make follow-up calls
because if
and
they're
see if
just,
they're being used, and if they're not, we'll get them back.
Or maybe they're not being used because they don't know how to do certain things.
Mhm.
So that's how we can know who needs the help. And I don't know, maybe in the future, long-term loans for a month, and then check back if they're still being used. I'm just thinking aloud about keeping track of the equipment that the center has.
Very good point. And I think we kind of modeled it initially after Northampton. Northampton had a loan program. I don't know if it was the book, the Chromebook or something. But their person has left who was handling that program, and they were closed because they were a vaccine site. So we kind of initially, we're modeling it after Northampton, but I'll have Darlene do some follow-up calls next week and track them down and see if they're being used.
okay, that's,
If they're
That's good.
still working, that's the other thing too, that we don't know.
yeah. All right, any other things, any comments about the care funds?
I just want to comment, since I'm in that 80 group, over 80. I would love to be able, when I'm having a problem, to pick up my iPad, go into the center and sit with someone and say, just get me through this. We're not going to make them techie savvy. We're just giving them the basics so they can get on and do certain things.
Like say, how do I do this, and have somebody show them how to do it.
Exactly.
That's kind of my vision, but
And when they come in, you can tell them, don't do certain things because you may run into trouble.
Maybe even a printout of don't do this, do that. Some very
Exactly.
basic information.
Now, I think the MCOA again has some guidelines on Zoom, how to do Zoom. So they may be another source on printouts, etc.
Yeah, they may have some.
You know, it's as a perfect example, just someone asked me to help them. They were on Commonwealth Care, which was Mass Health. And this person had to go in and do a virtual with an MD. And it was through Signify. I don't know if anybody knows that
Heard of
app.
it.
I had never heard of it. And I finally got in, could see us on the video on the computer. It said, congratulations, and left us. So we never made contact, and it was so frustrating. That would be something, walk me through it, because I'm one of these, don't ask me to read it, show me.
Well,
Yeah.
along those, not actually that line, but picking on something that Jim had said, there's so many spams and scams out there on the internet, using your email that may come in and saying that your card has been maybe
Click this link and
Yeah.
to re-verify your information.
Yep.
And probably almost 90% or more of the ones I get like that are scams. And you can't really tell by looking anymore because they are so sophisticated.
Right.
So that's a tough one.
It's
don't know how
teaching
you
people
teach
to
that,
go,
but-
not to depend on their email, but go directly to their account and not use
Right.
an email link to get to what they think is their account, to just go
Right,
directly
right.
to their account. So it's an education process as well.
Jonathan's,
Jonathan?
Just building on what Lori was saying. Some of the local libraries, such as Forbes in Northampton and Jones and Amherst, have someone come in once a week to a computer person who's proficient in software to help people who then come in, bring their own computers if they're having problems or they just want some help on using software. And so it's kind of a troubleshooting thing. And I think maybe that's what we should aim for. Just set some hours. If we can find a person who's pretty savvy and cover a wide range of issues on both PC and Microsoft or Apple, I think it would be very, Apple and iPad, it would be very helpful.
Yeah, we're on the same
yeah.
page, Jonathan, with
Yeah.
that. Absolutely.
yeah,
But I think that's best. And then if something develops that it would help to have handouts that would help with Zoom or whatever, fine. But I think just people starting with their own issues that they want to be better at or trying to get through. And if they're not already there where they even have a question because they're not using it, this just may not be the best way to address it at the moment.
Right. Okay. We're definitely, that's kind of, again, I go back to saying that's kind of my vision. Let's have a resource available to them so that we can keep them in touch with people through another couple of maybe tough months ahead. So, all
I'll
right.
sign up.
With that, Lori?
I'll be the first to sign up. Walk me through Zoom.
So maybe we can try to get something, Joan, and then if we can pull it together by the next newsletter, I'll certainly help you with that. Anybody else wants to jump in, let us know. So do you want to talk about your memory cafe meeting, Joan and Sylvia, a little bit? I'll let Joan kick it off because I know you have some dates here and
So is it also on the agenda, or this is the part where we talk
well,
about it?
it's on the agenda, but that's part of your initiative. So
All right,
in
so
your initiative, so
I was happy to have Sylvia and Nancy come to the center outside with masks. And we had a good meeting. I think part of it is that there's not enough knowledge of what a memory cafe is. Like you can read it on paper, but till you experience it, it's hard to understand. So we've decided, I've called the Hamden Senior Center has one every Friday from 10 to 12. And Sylvia and I initially have agreed to go to Hamden and to experience the Memory Cafe. So I'm not sure, I have a call out to see how many people can go, if anybody else would like to go. I mean, if we could get the bus, I suppose, to bring a few of us for, as soon as I find out how many can go. I have experienced it. It's a partnership. It's the caregiver and the person with the memory impairment together. Some of the struggles are that there's different levels of memory impairment. Some are very, cognitively can't follow any directions, and some can. They may not remember what they did, but they can follow directions. So you keep it simple. The first one we talked about, we'd like to try in October, even though we don't know we'll get the grant yet. We're going to try something simple, music therapy, something light, and so we've set 3 dates, and I've initiated emails out to Armbrook, to Golden Moments, which is in Florence, and it's exactly what they do all the time. But they have 2 field trips a month, so they may make one of the field trips to our place. They used to go to Northampton, and it's been closed, so they can't go there. So Armbrook Village is very excited about it. They said their clients probably wouldn't come because they have enough activities at their own place, but she will send her activity person, and we might do some drumming, we might do some nutrition. There's so many ideas you can do for programming. So I'm sorry to take it all over.
What's the first, so we have an October date set. So have we determined what's the first?
We have to do some marketing. So we have to, we're going to take the toolkit.
Stepping back from that, Joan, what's our first entertainment, or what's our first activity? Yeah, thank you.
So we haven't set it in stone yet. But the idea was probably to do some kind of music from the past, either sing-alongs, or she suggested from Armbrook that dance, even something that music and dance together, something where it's a physical thing more than a sitting type of thing. So it is not set in stone yet.
No, but I'm just saying, before we market what October is, we have to have it set in stone, right?
And we will.
Okay, I'm just asking.
We need another week or 2 to figure that out.
Right. Okay, Sylvia?
John, weren't we, invited when you had that conversation to go to one of their activities?
In Armbrook?
Yeah, Armbrook. Even before our planned September 10th trip, which will be next week. I believe they invited us to go to Florence to see, I think they have it twice a week.
So not Armbrook, but the Golden
Oh,
Moments?
the Golden Moments? I didn't see that email.
You sent some information. I didn't print it. I'm sorry.
I had a request to them. I had a phone conversation with, I think it's Amy, but from Golden Moments. And I sent it out to maybe 10 people, including yourself, and to Janet, and to Maureen. And just, I was again thinking out loud, this is our plan. Can you help us? And your expertise, your areas of expertise, how can we pull it together to have a memory cafe?
And somebody answered.
Your center.
Right. She sounded more like she was interested in coming to us.
Golden Moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was interested in, bringing some of their people to, because
I don't think we want them at the center before the 10th of September. Because
I understand that.
No, that's not what you.
I think they left the door open for us to go see what they do.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, and so maybe we can take that opportunity to go.
Okay, that's closer than Hamden.
Yeah. Whatever gives us information in order to be ready for October. The piece of the Memory Cafe toolkit that you gave us gives a lot of information for us to, you know, I'm glad that you're going to send it to everybody so that everybody's on the same page as to what it is all about. You know, we all have an idea, but we have not seen it. We have not witnessed it like you have. But seeing it, I think it will be clearer for us to be ready for something in October, because it's really around the corner. And along with that, we can do the marketing. But, you know, what do we market if we don't know what we're going to do?
True.
Right. Jonathan?
Is there going to be any training for people who are helping to coordinate and help, who are facilitating, who are otherwise helping with the actual holding of these cafe meetings or
So
sessions?
first, we don't know if we got the grant yet. So we have to wait till we get the grant to see how we can use it. Training is so important. I mean, I think that came up in the meeting. Nancy works for Mercy Life. She has a lot of expertise in that area. You know, my background is activities and programming, and I have, you know, been to the programs, but we do, if we get the grant, there will be, you know, a person, an outreach person, somebody with more expertise working with Alzheimer's or dementia, that will probably have a training for any volunteers. I mean, I'm not sure how it's going to take off. We're just trying to get the ball rolling. And, but I think training is always important for everybody.
I just would emphasize that I think it's very important, you know, to focus on best ways to deal with those who have memory issues. It's not intuitive, I can tell you that, from having had a parent many years ago who had dementia, and also seeing the people that work with them. There's just a lot of things, and it's simple stuff, but it goes against the grain, I think. It goes against the grain of anyone who has a lot of empathy, which is helpful, but can also get in the way sometimes of really understanding, because you can't look at that person and how they respond to things. If, depending on how severe the dementia is, you can't look at it through a prism of normality. You got to look at where it is that they're at, and you just may not know. So it helps to have some general ideas of what it is and what really helps the situation, because you don't want to always respond in kind. It's similar to some ways in dealing with a child. For example, you're answering different questions, maybe they're a little bit different than what they're saying on surface, or how you would deal with it if it was asked by an adult. Anyways, I just am very sensitive to that issue, just seeing how it knowing from the past, it can be a learning curve for some people, and it's really important. You just can't go in there wanting to help. You have to really have an idea of what might be best for helping such an individual and being where they are.
I think, Jonathan, the idea was that, you know, Joanne will be the lead on putting it together and exposing Nancy and me and whoever wants to come to see what's happening, what it is all about, what is the Memory Cafe, what activities, and then plan for those 3 dates, whether we get the grant or not, is the amount of activities that we could have on those 3 dates. And then if we get the money, hire somebody. So that person can be the lead and bring the training and bring everything else that needs to be done. So far, that's what we sort of talk about at the meeting. We need to, in my case, I need to see what it is all about. I have an idea in the readings that I've been doing, but I never done that before. Not that I'm going to be directly doing it, but just to be able to plan what it is all about. You know, because we're talking about an hour and a half monthly. And the idea of, if we get the money, to hire somebody to do all of that.
And that takes a while.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hire
Yeah,
some-
can I just some?
Yes, Yeah,
Yeah, just a couple of things. The atrium is a resource. They have for a long time had been really specialist in the area on Alzheimer's disease. And I want to second what Jonathan just said. The training is incredibly important. When I learned as a young nurse care of someone with dementia, the current theory is completely different. And it is very much about allowing people to be wherever they are as opposed to constantly reorienting. There's so much. In fact, the state of Massachusetts requires everyone that works in a nursing home to have 8 hours initial training on dementia and then every year to get 4 hours. So I would ask whoever hopefully we get the grant, that whoever is hired is certified in the state of Massachusetts in this dementia program, because it's incredibly different than when I learned it. I also have this, pie in the sky notion about people with dementia, that they are who they have always been. And even though there's so much similarities to children, I think a good frame is to not think that way, that they need help with toileting and eating and all these things, but it is very, very different. So I just, want to second the idea of training, but there is specific curriculum for the state of Massachusetts that people have to be certified in. So I would just ask that whoever is hired has that training.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, and are you familiar with the atrium, Joan?
Yes.
Okay,
It's in
Have you-
Agawam.
I know it's in Agawam, so I figured you might have heard of it before. Have you been there? I'm just curious.
I have actually. I was there. My niece did Irish step dancing, and I went, and yeah.
Okay.
Again, they use a lot of music and a lot of art therapy, that kind of thing.
Lori, did you want to say something before we?
No, I was just reinforcing, because as I listened to Sylvia and Joan, I strongly believe that they're doing the right approach. They weren't saying they were bringing in volunteers. They're bringing in people that are certified to work.
Yeah.
And I didn't want them to think that the rest of us are sitting here thinking, oh, you're just throwing it out to anybody. That isn't what they're saying. They're looking for certified people.
And
Right.
we're collaborating with people that are already doing it. I think the age room is a good suggestion, but I know Armbrook has been doing it. They tried a memory cafe a few years back. It didn't pan out for them, but maybe because they're a private organization or a facility, maybe as we're a community center, maybe we'll get more interest in our place. I'm not sure. And I think our setting is beautiful. I think it's bright. We've got the big windows, the big tall ceilings. I think it's perfect for a memory cafe.
Yeah. And you're right. Once you get an outreach person, which we have fought for so long, you'll have the direction. But you guys are doing a great job. You're on the right path.
And I think we'll use the money from the grant that we hopefully get, and some money from the state formula grant, right? Was kind of the goal. So,
And, now that you're mentioning grants, I'm going to step in again and go back to this MCOA newsletter.
Yep.
And I will try to send everybody a copy. But
so how did you register, Lori? Can you?
I got registered online, but
At the MCOA website, right?
yeah.
MCOA online, because I get the newsletters as well. Anybody else get the MCOA newsletters? I just proactively went to MCOA and signed up for their newsletter. So
Yeah, and they have grant opportunities, and there's a new under the community compact best practice program. Cities and towns can apply for funding through an agreement with the Baker Polito administration to pursue municipal best practices. Age and dementia friendly efforts are listed.
good.
So there's another opportunity.
So if you can you share that particular newsletter with the board?
Yes, I'll send it out after this meeting.
Okay, great. So two quick things that I don't want to, that we've talked about a lot, but I don't want to lose track of. And one was suggestion that I don't know if we have enough KN95 masks, Joan, but somebody
There
made
was
that.
Yeah, we had a big delivery through Don Snyder and the emergency management, and there's a box full.
So what is a
of
box full?
N95. Well, I don't know,
It's not
50 to 100, I think.
Because
Wow.
those can go fast.
So the
50 to 100.
studio is, we have lots of PPE that came in for free, and it's in the studio. I mean, we can do some inventory. I don't know if anybody has done inventory on it. I know maybe Jerry has, but if you think the N95 is what people will want, we can definitely get, you know, what do you suggest? Should we keep it available at the Council on Aging,
But
or?
who was, somebody made the recommendation. Josie, I think did.
Josie.
And you were talking about the KN95, not necessarily the K95, right?
Right.
Isn't the K95 for children?
No,
No,
it can be. I mean, they have room for that, but
Yeah.
maybe for adults.
when we had the latest, well, not the latest, but recently, you know, as the numbers were going up in Hampshire County, and it turned out that a friend of ours came down, he had a breakthrough COVID infection. He'd been vaccinated, no, probably March or April. And he's been pretty sick, not enough to get hospitalized, but you know, I felt like, and my next door neighbor, her 2 grandkids who are under 12, they came down with COVID. And then my niece's 2 kids wound up with COVID.
Mhm.
And you know, it's like, that's bringing it pretty close to home. Now I've got my vaccines, but Doric and I, whenever we go out to the store, to any indoor venue, restaurant, whatever, we wear a mask. And I was going to try to get the N95, but they're harder to get. They're more expensive. And frankly, I think the KN95 are more comfortable. They do have the ear loops, as opposed to having to tie them up here and to tie them back here. And where we go a lot, you know, we just put them on when we're going into the building. And then if you're eating somewhere, you take them off while you're eating. And I found that KN95 much more user-friendly, shall I say.
So
And
if tomorrow, we
well.
can check and see what we have at the center or
Yeah,
at the town hall.
they're saying the cloth masks, their safety factor is much lower.
Yeah.
Even the surgical masks are much lower. And besides if you, instead of the N95, the KN95s are next to the top, I guess, for protection. So
exactly.
And
'Cause it
not one with
covers
a
your-
valve.
It covers your nose and your you know, your
yeah,
mouth.
they,
so-
they, they have like maybe, I don't know, 5 layers in them.
Right.
So unlike a cloth mask, which doesn't help a lot, we're learning as we go along.
And I have found that, you know, I've had the cloth masks where you can put a filter in there.
Mhm.
Makes it really hard to breathe, especially if you're trying to work out. But with the KN95, it's easier to breathe than even with the 5 layers than say, and then with a cloth mask, if you don't have that extra filter in there, then they just don't work that well.
Right.
So,
So I guess Joan, I guess our concern is how good are the masks that we have and how many of them do we have? So,
I'll be glad to check tomorrow.
okay.
And I'll give you a call, Josie, if you're looking for a couple.
oh, thanks.
Okay. And then the other one is the Memory Cafe Toolkit, and Joan's you have it digitally, Joan?
I can get it online. If I don't have it, I may have it in my files. I will send it out tomorrow.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank
You've
you.
got a busy tomorrow. Are you in tomorrow?
I should be in by 11, but I
Oh.
have an MCOA Zoom meeting at 11, so.
Okay, so it's sometime
After
tomorrow
that.
afternoon or Monday. Okay.
For-
all right.
For the purpose
No,
of
Monday's a
minutes.
holiday. I'm not
Tuesday,
there
Tuesday.
Monday.
For the purpose
Nobody's
of
there
minutes,
Monday.
what is the toolkit?
It's a Memory Cafe Toolkit.
It's a document.
Oh, okay, document.
Okay, it's 40 pages. And I mean, it has a lot of information. It's, really resourceful. And it has some links, but I cannot click on the paper to open them. And so that's why, I was asking if we could have it online. It really, I mean, some things are.
Is that accessible? Can we get copies?
Yeah, it's on the MCOA website. You go to MCOA online and you look for Memory Cafe Toolkit, but I will send it out tomorrow.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Some of the information is, for me, common sense, but the way they put it together, it makes even more sense. It's not hard. It's really easy to read and very informative.
Great, good, thank you. Okay, two quick things, Joan, that we didn't cover, and maybe you can just touch base on the movie license and the reception desk situation.
Right. I apologize for not
That's
adding
okay, no,
those.
no, no. We
So
have
the
them.
movie situation is the Park and Rec, Dan LaValle from the Park and Rec approached me. I guess he had looked into doing movies and could be intergenerational. It could be,
Movies at
just
Conant Park or something, right? He wanted to do. them at
originally he
Conant
wanted
Park?
to do it at Conan Park, but the license is, very expensive. It's over $600. But being that we are a council on aging and we're connected, we're members of the MCOA, the Mass Council on Aging, there is a reduced rate to $225.
Significant.
It's a big difference.
Yeah.
So it would not only help him, but I think it would open up a door for us to do other activities, like maybe a movie evening or a movie afternoon with our folks and with maybe grandchildren eventually when the world opens up.
And is the license an annual license?
It's annual.
I'm sorry, but I feel like I've come in the middle of the conversation. Why would we need the movie license? To make movies or to show movies?
No, to show movies. So they're all the movies are copyrighted. If you show them in a group, you're
Right,
supposed
no,
to have a
it's like
license.
ASCAP or something for a radio station.
Yeah.
Play music or something. Yeah. Okay,
You need a license in order to have like a movie night at the.
right.
senior
Or
center,
play
a movie
music in
night.
your restaurant or something.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But why is that different from showing a DVD?
It's saying, no, that's the thing. If we were ever cited, we could not just show a DVD in a group. You can do it privately in your home, but we couldn't show it to a group. And you need a license, like bingo. We need a license to have a group bingo, but not in your home, but in a public setting, you need to have a license. And
Who do you get the license from? Who issues
So
that?
it's a company called, I think it's MLP. I do have some info here. MPLC.
MPLC?
Yep. And do I know what
Motion
it's
Picture Licensing Commission.
Yeah, corporation. Very good.
Yeah,
Out of California, of course.
of course.
But it's well known in the senior center population. I had it in my other facility, but we used to have weekly movies and we'd have 40 people. But I mean, I tried it here in Southampton. We're a very small community and people don't want to watch a movie in the middle of the afternoon, necessarily. But an evening, it could open opportunities. I know Janet mentioned, her concern is that we don't want to do it for Park and Rec per se. But if in conjunction, in collaboration, which we're trying to do more of that, we could host it at the center. We could have it for intergenerational, it's another a form of entertainment.
And my only recommendation is the timing. So to get one in October or September that you can use outside once or twice. We can't use it inside with COVID for a while. So my only suggestion, and this is just a thought,
Hold off.
is to hold off until like spring when they can be outside. I mean, how many can they really do between now and, outside between now and winter? And we're not doing it inside, I would gather at this point in time. So.
And also I would check into whether we can share a license with Park and Recreation. if the discounted price is available only to senior centers, because I know in the background where I did had to handle licensing for music and stuff, they're pretty strict about it.
I will check both of those things so that
Yeah,
push it off till next year if it's gonna be an outside
right.
thing.
We got plenty of time, right?
And second, to see if Park and Rec, if it was a shared thing, if there would be a problem.
So what, do you know what qualifies us or another organization for the discounted price?
Because we belong to the Mass Council on Aging, so I don't know if it's a group umbrella, so maybe they put in money as a group and then we each put in a smaller amount.
Another benefit of being elderly, like AARP.
Maybe.
Yeah, but
and the other-
their fines can be rather devastating.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank Joan because I can't tell you how many years I called bingo without a license.
Oh.
But you never got in
As a
trouble.
former
You're
federal
making a
agent,
cake for
Lori,
me.
I've got to turn you in.
But you're not betting though, right?
No.
Well,
good.
technically, it's a bingo and they're paying for their cards, so technically,
right.
yes. It's
Oh.
out of the lottery commission.
Yeah.
And
But
on the
you-
side, Lori, I just found out that in other communities, you can't even pick your numbers. They give you a card.
Ooh,
I haven't read the fine print, but we're just
Uh-huh.
gonna keep it the way it is right now.
Up until a couple of years ago, every time a restaurant sang happy birthday, they had to pay royalties.
that's
Oh,
right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is
So,
that why the Mexican restaurant used to sing their own song?
yeah, and sometimes you just go happy, happy, happy.
Yes.
But now the copyright is expired and you can sing it as often as you want, wherever you want. I think we should all sing it now, huh? No.
Long copyright. Okay, reception desk, Joan, just real quick.
All right,
we
so
still have
quickly,
this
yes,
group?
initially I had spoken at the Friends meeting last month to see if we could get some interest in the Friends and volunteers to man that desk a few hours a week to take some pressure off of the office. So the volunteer coordinator, Flo, will be helping to schedule a person a few times a week. We're going to try and do it convenient for the folks and convenient for us when our office is very busy. We need to upgrade our phones though, because I can't find a third extension. I'm looking for a third RCA extension for the phone. So anyway, that's still in process. We're hoping to have a person there in the near future.
Okay, good.
I don't
Thanks.
have a real update yet.
Okay. no,
Janet, can
that's
I
good.
make a suggestion? I don't know if this would fly or not. If we advertised in the newsletter regarding looking for volunteers and maybe get a couple of mothers that have kids in school that might be willing to come in, for a couple of hours and man that desk and get us connected with younger people that we're trying to get on different boards and committees.
I like that.
And we also have like the senior write-off program, right? So if somebody's
Hmm.
looking from that perspective to put in a few hours every week, that's a good opportunity as well.
And the RSVP program also, if I told Pat that we were looking for a position, they may have somebody.
Okay,
And she'll put it in the RSVP newsletter. Excellent.
great. Okay, and the one other thing about the CARES update, I just want to mention, and I resent Joan the flyer. We had sent it out a few months ago, I guess when we first got the rental assistance funds. That I sent that to you, Joan, this morning. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I
if you
got
had
it.
a chance to see it, but if we
Yeah.
could post that at a couple places in the senior center, I think that would be a good reminder, especially now that eviction notices or people can be evicted where they couldn't be before. It may be more urgent than ever. So we're trying to make sure we have some focus on that
I can
program.
put it in the newsletter as well if you want.
Yeah, just to add that back in there. So,
Janet, I'm sorry, it's just my hearing.
Yep.
But what should we be posting?
It's a rental assistance program
Oh,
that's
okay,
funded
thank
through
you.
CARES and handled by the Community Action Group out of Northampton.
Great.
They kind of filter it and manage it and send people. If they exhaust all the other options that are available to them, we have some CARES funds to help support them. We haven't had any takers to date, but again, people now can be evicted, and so there may be more pressure and more need at this point in time. And the only other thing I want to mention real quick is on September 22nd at 6:30 to 8:30, there's going to be a Zoom community meeting to discuss and review the housing needs in Southampton. And we are in the process through a grant for the Housing Authority of updating our housing production plan. So it'll be an education, Q&A, what's the statistics in Southampton now? What are our goals? How do people in town believe we should be moving in those directions or getting those goals completed? So it's a good opportunity to talk about some senior housing needs, other needs.
Can you
And
send
so-
that out electronically as
Yes,
well?
it's on MyTownGov, and we'll be posting it, and I'll send you the document. It'll be in Robert Floyd's newsletter, so we're touching a lot of touch points on that as well.
I'm in a meeting.
Okay, I think any.
Janet, excuse me.
Yes.
How do we get into this? Register for that.
Okay, so I'll send out the document. It has a link in it, and you kind of pre-register for it.
Okay,
And we'll send out a reminder automatically that'll help you connect you to a link. It'll be a Zoom link. to get
excellent.
into it,
Thank you.
okay? So I'll send that information out to everybody.
Thank you.
We're trying. And I don't know if anybody read the reminder, but our numbers from, we used to have like less than, 2% of our population was a minority. We're now, I think, in the high sevens. So we're diversifying slowly, but we're getting there as a community. So that's the good thing. And it's making sure we address economic needs as well in town, which has been a challenge. Sylvia?
The Boston Globe, I don't know, I have it, but if I send it to you, you won't be able to open it, if you
It-
are not.
They don't share nicely with non-payers, yes.
Yeah, there's a map, a map of Massachusetts. And if you click in every community, like Southampton, like Westfield, and it tells you the census changes between 2010 and 2020.
Yep.
2020. And so, and that's where you find information that you were talking about. It's really interesting to see, you just click on it. So, you can, sometimes the Boston Globe offers, for 10 weeks, $1. And so you can open it and download it into your computer. But if I send it, you won't be able to open it because you don't have a subscription. It
Yeah,
just appeared like this week or last week. Last week it appeared.
Okay, we're working with a grant with the PVPC and trying to work to get our data because yes, you're right. This new census has made a lot of changes.
Yes,
The thing that hasn't changed is the amount of affordable housing in Southampton.
true.
Okay, so that has not changed
Do agree.
basically at all. So, and it's not for lack of effort. So we won't give up. So,
Good.
Rini, do you have anything as a select board liaison that you want to share with us or?
Well, the only thing I wanted to just mention is that last night we did recommend a candidate for the town accountant, and we're very close, if not already there, for the assistant accountant. So it's been a long time coming, but hopefully they'll both accept the position and we'll be sort of back in business.
That's
think that's-
great.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
Can I make a comment to Rini? I thoroughly enjoyed the whole process. I thought the select board did a great job.
Oh,
That's
well,
nice.
thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Rini. I'm sorry. I was just saying you mean, you're talking about the interviews last night?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just so professional and just done so nicely. And I loved the way they made their determination.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So that will be available to you on YouTube or on the
Easthampton Media.
Media. Okay. If you missed it last night, it's definitely, it was a good process.
Yeah, it is repeated on what, channel 190, 191?
Yeah,
191.
191 as well.
Yeah.
At some point in time, yeah. Okay, is there any other business that cannot wait till our next meeting? I don't hear of any. That said, do we have, we got a schedule. So our next meeting is obviously the first Wednesday of the month. And I'm sorry, we didn't have, I skipped over the Friends report, Jonathan, obviously, because they meet next week. Right?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And I will be out of town and unable to attend that
So
meeting.
Lori.
Lori, you're aware of that, right?
Yes, I'm covering for you.
Okay, great. So our next meeting is October 6th at 4 o'clock. And I'm gonna recommend we continue with Zoom if everybody agrees at this point. I miss
Works
seeing
for
you guys
me.
today very much. So we
Thank
have
you.
motion to adjourn.
I move.
Sylvia,
I second.
Lori, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Hi.
no, individually. We have to do it while we're on Zoom. Individually say aye, respond aye. Jim,
Aye.
Sylvia,
Aye, aye, aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Josie,
Aye.
Jonathan,
Aye.
and Janet, aye. Thank you very much and stay dry.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Janet.
You all.
Thanks, everyone.
Stay safe.
Take
night.
care.
Good night.
Night.